Are you live, brother?
Yes, we are live with Brother Neil Frazier. We have another fabulous show today, and the topic is phenomenal and right on point with what's happening these days in this time period and actually today. Release of the Neteru, Black Cosmic Retribution. Retribution. Wow, release of the Black Cosmic, man, that's a powerful title. When I saw it, I said, man, you know, you're doing it, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And you look well, man. You're out there with the trees and out there in nature.
Oh yeah.
Actually, where you should be. The birds are flying around. So I know with the sun on you, it's going to fly very powerful. Exactly.
I'm getting my download because this is a very, very powerful day, as we're going to discuss. But of course, as always, our attention is being deflected. But before I go into that, I just want to wish you a happy birthday, Brother Lance.
Oh, thank you, brother.
As I was telling you, it's no mistake that you were born on this day. And when you think 60 years ago, when you ushered in that dispensation, that we would be here today.
Isn't that something?
And we're gonna talk about why it's important for us to begin to go back to reading the signs in nature like our ancestors, because we miss important events based on the fear mongering, you know, all this different. Why would you be afraid of the power of the greatest sources in the universe? Why all this fear stoking? Well, there's a reason for that. And today we're going to talk about those of us who are connected, okay, to universal and divine laws. We're going to talk about what this day means to us and how we should proceed forward now that we have been given the sign and the symbols of the language of the cosmos to move forward. So again, I want to greet Brother Lance. I want to greet everyone in the chat room and in the sound of my voice. And one of the main reasons, before I get into the text, good topic. And I know that a lot of people are asking the question, the topic, release of the Neteru, Black Cosmic Retribution. And I'll explain this when we get into the text. But throughout history, I'll just give a setup for it. As far back as the land of Punt, 40,000 years ago, there is a, you call it religion today, but it is a concept because our people have always had the concept of retribution within our etheric heart and minds when we were connected to nature. But in these caves they discovered in ancient Punt, present-day Somalia, this language, 40,000-year-old language called Ebe-Wak, in which Wak was the concept of the supreme being. Then there was Anale, which is the benevolent spirits or the good spirits. And then there was Hur, H-U-U-R, which was the entity or supreme being associated with destruction or retribution. And these three concepts have always existed in the cosmic consciousness of our people, because again, when our pineal gland was open and we were communicating with nature, it was like, you know, it wasn't anything supernatural, it was natural to us. So today, I'm going to ask Brother Lance to put that picture of Mayat up there, and then we're going to get into the text.
Okay.
But the first, yes, beautiful picture. the first concept of wings was this beautiful picture that you can see throughout. Whenever you go to a Kibalon, you see this picture. This is the first concept of an angel. And also the Neteru, which we'll get into, they are male and female. So when you look at the feminine energy of Mayat, or the Mother God frequency, then you can see the power of this. And all of this is associated with what we're talking about today. But we're going to talk about the importance of this eclipse to the laws of Mayat and the 7 principles of Mayat, which are truth, balance, order, harmony, righteousness, morality, and justice. And as far back as you go, you can see this also represented in the personalities of Jehudi or Thoth. But the number 3, the law of correspondence or cosmic communication, okay, is what, when we're able to connect with nature and read the language of nature, whenever you have an alignment of the earth, the moon, and the sun, then we know that this is associated with a paradigm shift or the law of correspondence, which teaches us as above, Neter, and as below, Neteru. So we know when this alignment happens with the sun, moon, and the earth, we're talking about a celestial language, okay, and a cosmic phenomenon, which is basically a sign and a symbol in the universe that's associated, and number 3, the sun, moon, and earth, with completion. So we're coming to the end of some form of rulership on the earth. Then we're talking about a transformation where it's being ushered in, this new energy transformation or chi is being ushered in. And also we're talking about balance. And balance is going to play a very important part in the lives of Black people moving forward. Okay, so when you look at cosmic phenomena and you look at the divine law of oneness, we see that once we were separated from being able to read the signs in nature, then we lost all, like we should be out celebrating today, okay? Because this is a sign of transformation. However, everybody is not going to be transformed. Let me put it that way, and we'll go into that today. But yeah, uh-oh, I dropped my, hold on there, Lance.
Take your time, brother.
Anything to get you distracted. Oh, come on. Okay, you know what? My earpiece fell off my ear. I'll find it. It
For
bounced
your
somewhere,
earpiece?
but that's just to get me distracted. Sorry about that, brother Lance.
No. Things happen, man. It's no problem.
Yeah, I'll find it. But we're on the flow where we're into this cosmic communication that people that are disconnected from being able to communicate at the etheric level. Okay, when we talk about the fact that we are 360-degree beings, and when you add the metaphysical aspect, we're talking about 720 degrees. Okay, so when we look at this, we see the lowest common denominator of this is 3, but 9 is the root number of this, and this is why we know that this is a sign for us, and that we must re-transform ourselves from our former selves. Or like I like to talk about having a metamorphosis. But if you add 7 plus 2 plus 0, that's 9. If you add 3 plus 6 plus 0, that's 9. If you add 180, 1 plus 8 plus 0, that's 9. If you add 45, okay, that's 4 plus 5 equal 9. And then when you add 22.5, that's 2 plus 2 plus 5. So these are natural laws and principles that when there is a cosmic event like today, it automatically signals us to transform. Now, the reason why we're looking at the number 3 and 9, as well as 6, is because these are the sacred numbers that the sacred geometry comes from. And also, when we look at the 3 stars in Orion's belt, and we duplicated it here on the planet, the 3 pyramids of Giza and other places around the world, we look at how all ancient cultures looked at the number 3 as a powerful signal from the source of all creation. Okay. And when we talk about as above, so below, as within, so without, within ourselves, within our biological selves, we have the sacred triangle, the pineal, the hypothalamus, and we have the pituitary gland. So we see this 3, this alignment, okay, it's nothing spooky. We see this alignment of the 3 major elements in our universe, Earth, Sun, Moon, then we know that the Creator Creatrix is speaking directly to us through the etheric realm. And those of us who are functioning at the divine level of frequency, or the God frequency, which they call it, 963 hertz, this is a activation day for us. And this is why the Neteru are activated. So when you think of, say, like a sleeper cell, they have been waiting for this event to take place in 2024 in order to activate it. But let's look at the ancient cultures and the significance of the number 3 and why it was so significant for them to the point where it was a spiritual type of sign or connection. First, we look at the first family, the Egyptian triad, Asar, Set, and Heru. Then we look at the Hindu Trimurti, where you have Brahma, the one that creates everything, creation. Vishnu, who is the deity of preservation. And then we have Shiva, the deity of destruction. So you see, we always had this principle throughout the cultures of the world regarding either destruction or retribution. And we'll give the definition of retribution as we go through this. In Taoism or Taoism, the pure ones, creation, where we look at the 3 basic colors, blue being celestial or sky, and associated with the universal chi or energy, red being the human pain and suffering, such as what Black folks have endured here on the planet. That energy and that chi exist. And then we look at yellow, which is the earth chi and the energy here on the planet. In the Sumerian culture, we look at An, Enlil, and Enki, all prominent deities in that culture. Then the Greek three fates, which has to do with the three old ladies weaving metaphorically, life together. Buddhism is the one culture cultural concept that replaced God, or what we know as God, with wisdom. Okay, and instead of God, it was Buddha and creation. Then we had Dharma, which had to do with sacred teachings, and then Shanga, which had to do with community, collectiveness, mind, speech, and body. And then lastly, we have Christianity, the Trinity, the three temptations of Jesus, the 3-year ministry of Jesus, and the 3 days before resurrection. Just to finish up with this particular thought, okay, the number 3 is a number of creativity, communication, and optimism. So we're moving into an age of transformation where those who are still stuck on the low vibratory existence, there's going to be a separation from them, okay, or the caterpillar mentality. The number 3 also attracts people with an outgoing personality or an outgoing nature. Okay. And finally, we look at the fact that life has 3 parts: birth, life, and death. We look at a story. When you tell a story, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then, finally, we look at the fact that a triangle is the only polygon with equal distance between their points. It is the only one that can do this. So no matter how you stretch the points out, they'll have equal sides on each one. Now, I know everybody want to talk about the title, which we're going to get in now. Very important. Again, we have to recognize that this sign that we're getting today, this is a sign of transformation for those of us that are connected to the real source of the universe. And Lance, if you would put up the picture of the figure that's holding that. It looks like 10 Commandments. Not him, the next one. Yeah, okay. So here, before I get into the text here we see now the concept that our people have been taught with this 10 Commandments lie, which was taken out of the 42 Confessions of Mayat. Actually, this the way the concept that our people had back in antiquity, which was corrupted into the 10 Commandments, which all of us have been indoctrinated with through movies and church, through the Bible. These are actually the divine laws and principles that the Neteru has brought forth through a Neteru that's holding it there. So I'm sorry, this is, so we don't like to use any type of physical representation of Supreme Source. Okay, so this is more or less because our people, in order to comprehend, it has to be shown in the biblical or Eurocentric content and context in order for our people to comprehend it. And I'm not saying we're narrow-minded. I'm just saying when you're indoctrinated like we have been in religion, then it's easier to conceptualize this when you see something that's deep down in your psyche or in your that's an archetype in your subconscious mind. Okay, and that's what this is. But these tablets are actually the divine laws that we are supposed to live by through nature. So let's talk about this real quickly. Release of the Neteru, Black Cosmic Retribution. The thing is when you have this type of sign, there's also a manifestation that comes from this due to, okay, the concept of divine retribution, or some people like to refer to it as destruction, or destruction of those things that are wicked, or that has taken the etheric heart out of man and the etheric spirit. Our ancestors are being activated, and we're connected to that through what they call dark matter energy, which really is not, because that's a 90-degree way of seeing the world. Just like today, they're building this up as some kind of scientific event because people with a God complex refuse to give, an acknowledgement at least to what's happening with the supreme source in the universe and on the planet. But those of us, again, that are connected to this, it's clear to us. So a neter, or a NTR, because the Medu Neter did not have any vowels in it. So it was what it was. You couldn't use a synonym, antonym, or a harmonym in order to confuse people. But it means power. It means power, nature, or infinite energy, in which the English word nature is derived. That's why sometimes you hear me refer to the Academy of Neter as the Academy of Nature. It's interchangeable. Neter, or NTR, represents different aspects of the universe. Okay, so as above, so below. As above, Neter, supreme source. So below, various manifestations, Neteru, which is in air, water, and earth, and all elements. And see, these three elements line up with this eclipse today. So you got to be able to read nature, okay? And the difficult part, that's what's so good about the children's nature workbook, is that it allows the children to see nature in its truest form, okay, without having been, tampered with, or why you don't want to add any words or anything. So the important thing is that we're able to recognize the signs, know what they mean, and then in this transformation, understand that this manifestation is coming through our ancestors, this black cosmic force. And going back to what I initially said about the divine laws and the principles of Mayat, truth, justice, balance, righteousness, all of those things, okay, are now being ushered in with this new transformation, because the period of unrighteousness, unrighteous seeds, and unrighteous manifestations now, okay, just like when the plants and flowers grow, the weeds grow with them. You can't separate them until it's harvest time. Okay, but these laws, what's important about this is, okay, Lance, you can change that one to the next one.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, here we go. So as we see, our in the concepts that our people live by through nature, whenever these signs came through nature, then we were always out in nature. You know, these folks telling you to be inside. I've heard people all kinds of stuff, light candles. Why in the hell would I want to be outside inside lighting a candle? And see, this goes back to this teaching of you going inside a facility and someone standing in an elevated position over you, speaking down to you. That is not how nature operates. All things are connected. Okay. And so the reason why the Neteru are being activated, so this is one manifestation of the Neteru, as we saw the feminine manifestation when we looked at Mayat. Then we see that we're manifested to be in nature and also to be one with nature. Okay, the important thing about this time is that the babies that are being conceived, that are in the womb, even before they get to the womb, when that sperm and that egg, when that melanated sperm and egg hits, then all of the ones that were conceived today, that eclipse, okay, is the one that's releasing the Neteru, okay. All of these actions activate nature, okay, and the baby's being not only conceived but born on this day. We have a lot of times we don't recognize the signs that are even through our people like Lance, who was born on this day 61 years ago. I don't know. I don't want to put your age out if you don't want to.
Oh, no, 61 years.
I know you do all the way.
1963. 5:34 in the morning, 61 years ago, East Coast time, 5:34 a.m.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you see, you have 7 plus 1, which is the number 7 of completion. So we have all of these forces taking place that we don't read because others with a 90-degree way of seeing nature looks at everything either through what they call intelligence or artificially. Okay. But certainly all the babies being born today, these are Neteru. Okay. The ones that are chosen for Neteru, they are going to be a major part of this transformation. Okay, we were talking about the divine frequency, or what they call the God frequency of 963 hertz. And this is the doorway to profound spiritual experiences. And so that is what has happened today. Okay, again, you add 9 plus 6 plus 3 is 18. It's divisible by 9, and then its lowest common denominator is 3. So again, when we are able to read the signs in nature, we know what the Supreme Source is telling us on this day and activating the Neteru on this day. Now, the other thing too is that the universe vibrates at 432 hertz. Again, you have 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 2 is 9. Okay, so this is the vibration of nature that we're supposed to be connected with. But as I was saying earlier, there is a major, with this transformation is coming a major split or separation, however you want to view it. Because all of those that are not in sync with this will be subject to the low vibratory attacks that are coming. And that is the 440 hertz. Okay. Which is the number 8. And we know the power of the number 8. Okay. So there is going to be a separation. And today we see that number 8 manifesting, 4, 8. and 24. Okay, so we know that something is happening in the universe. The thing that I want to impress upon Black people today is that the Black cosmic retribution, and I remember the old people used to say, vengeance is not mine, it's the Lord's. And what they meant by that is the power that is going to affect this world now is going to be unprecedented. You think that you have seen any natural catastrophe, you haven't seen anything yet, okay? Because there's a lot of blood, Black blood in the soil. And if you look at the attributes of the 7 principles of Mayat, justice is a major, and righteousness is a major part of this, okay? We also see the law of polarity, or the law of opposites, okay? Whether you want to accept it or not, there are 2 separate Americas, one Black and one white, one separate and unequal, that controls all of the distribution of America. And its former people that they held in bondage that made America the country they are in have been treated unrighteously. So see, when we begin to look at nature instead of narratives, then somebody can't quote a scripture to you and then, you know, you start foaming at the mouth. Because when you start looking at nature, we have all the answers. But it is you that have been under this spell. But as I was saying, this separation is coming through Black cosmic retribution. Okay, and this vision was given to me because, as I said, there's a lot of blood in the soil here. Even when you look, not, you know, the motherland is unbelievable. We don't even have to discuss what that's about, although we know the blood that was left in the soil there. But when you look at the great cities of Aru or Peru, okay, in ancient times, and you look at the great city of Macao that was corrupted into Mexico, all of these things, okay, this event that's taking place today, this cosmic event that people want to downplay as, oh, get your sunglasses and, you know, get out. This is a wonderful spectacle. See, we helped make it happen. We can see the comet that's coming to the earth. We're gods. We can see everything. No, this is a cataclysmic event in nature that is signaling a major transformation. Now, here's something too. Okay, Black folks is not gonna be separated with the 963 hertz. Okay, it all depends. And like I was saying, the separation is gonna be like what nature teaches us in the cocoon experience or the metamorphosis. When we know that less than 50% of the caterpillars actually make it to the butterfly state. There's a reason for that in nature. But those that do, there is a complete, in fact, there's a complete transformation. I've seen now with the technology we have, we can see inside the cocoon. It becomes a totally different entity, organism, and it sheds all of its former parts. It gets rid of all of it. But metamorphosis, the definition is the changing of an organism from one state of existence to another, either by natural or supernatural means. So again, for those of us that understand, there's nothing supernatural about nature, just those that are not connected to it, they see it as supernatural. And just like they were afraid of, you know, voodoo, which basically was just the worship of nature on an etheric level, on a spiritual level. But I was watching, and I posted these on Facebook. I was watching where Emmett Smith and Blair Underwood, you know, they have this thing now where a lot of celebrities are looking at their ancestry. And Blair Underwood, he had a cousin, like I think his great 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 grandfather. I mean, great great great, yeah, grandfather was seen as the Messiah, or the name they gave them was a conjurer, which would be sort of like what they called when they started calling people witch doctors. But he was the liaison between, you know, the etheric world and the earthly world. And so it's interesting that because Blair Underwood is a good actor, he has that flair. But back when our people owned land, when the other people came in to take the land, he defended his land. I think he had something like 200 acres of land. And they started just taking over and bringing cattle there. And so he got into a altercation with one of these new, they call them in the history books, settlers, when actually they were just taking over the properties. And so he got shot, and he shot one of the, what they call the settlers. Okay. And so he was a blacksmith as a younger man. He was a farmer. Like I said before, most of our people before their lands were taken were farmers. So it's interesting how they go back into the history of where you were born, where your people were born, and then they go several generations removed. I even saw the one with Reba McEntire. I won't go into that, but she was very upset from what she found out. She also found out some encouraging news about the Europeans that first came over. But to go back to what we were talking about with Blair Underwood, so eventually at 78, this black man who defended his property, they ended up putting him in a mental health facility. And it was a black mental health, I believe it was called Central State Hospital or something like that. And he, you know, so, and then he got into another incident where he was shot in the face, and he survived that. But he thought of himself as a messiah. These, if you go back to the early shamans, okay, in the sages, where they were the go-between between, sort of like the Hogan with the Dogon people. But he was very surprised to find out, and he said, "Look, so people came to take our lands, and my great grandfather defended his lands. I'm proud of him." And so the conjurers at the time, the black men at that time, they wore extravagant headdress and different metals and things. And they're really connected, okay? So we see this separation, okay, that is coming, that is basically here. Now, Lance, if you would show the last picture. Yeah. So now, again, our people are showing this movie with, what's his name? Charleston Heston or Hugh Brenner, and these
I'll be
different
right back,
people.
brother.
Okay,
I'll be right
I
back.
think,
Yeah, get a
okay,
drink of
Brother
water.
Lance. Okay. Uh, what's her name, Raquel Welch, and all of these people that they put before us. Okay, and what he's really holding is he's holding the laws that the Supreme Force gave to him, okay, in order to judge the people, or in order to show the people the error of their ways. Okay, and these were principles like the principles of the 7 principles of Mayat. Okay, so retribution, the definition of retribution, okay, is giving back what is owed or what is due. And it's based on either reward or punishment. And I talked about how far back in antiquity that this goes, right? So we know that this was a concept that already existed amongst our people, documented as far back as 40,000 years ago. That's the one that's documented. In some cases, I've heard as far back as 80,000 years ago. And also here on Turtle Island. But retribution in ancient times was thought of as giving back what is due or what is owed, sort of like the eye for an eye or tooth for a tooth type of concept. The spiritual meaning of retribution is divine retribution, is a supernatural punishment of a person, a group of people, or everyone by a deity in response to some action. And therefore, and these are my words, that billions of Neteru are released, or billions of the chi energy in nature is released through all forms of Neteru, male, female. Okay, those that are vibrating at 963 hertz. Okay, the male female energy. Okay, where you have air, water, okay, and earth. Okay, and then you have the elements of the sun, earth, and moon that are aligned today. So all of this is a part of this transformation that's taking place. And those that are still stuck at the 440 hertz frequency are going to be separated from those that are vibrating at the frequency of 963 hertz. Okay, so let's talk about the Neteru concept. Okay, the Neteru was a concept that actually originated out of Punt. A lot of people believe that Kemet was the origin of it, but I found it as far back, the Medu Neter, as far back as ancient Punt. So the Egyptians gave the name Neter to the gravity of the universe. And the Neter and Neteru, okay, or the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, is the source of all creation, all that is and all that shall be. Our ancestors felt that to know this source was to know the many faces and qualities of this sacred source. The more they learned of these faces, the closer they got to the divine origin. And the neter, or the source, is self-produced, it's independent, it's eternal, it's omniscient, it's almighty, and it's immortal. The Neteru, or the functions and attributes of the Neter, this source, is represented in the many forms of the Neteru that I mentioned earlier. And from the Neter, or the supreme source, emerges the Neteru. Okay. And there are countless Neteru. From the one comes the many. And these Neteru are cosmic principles, laws, and forms of universal nature and the psyche, or the cosmic consciousness that pervade the entire universe. And so the Akashic records is also a part of this. Okay, you see him standing there with the laws and the principles there in stone. Okay, and the Akashic records are being opened at this time. So whatever is owed and whatever is due is not going to come from man, no matter how much they play this game with you. The last thing I want to point out is Neteru, okay, they are the means by which the Neter sustain creation and manifests through it. Thus, all the natural catastrophes that will be increasing is a result of the black cosmic retribution. So I don't see this eclipse as some type of, it's just a lot of wild theories going on about it. But again, the majority of this information that we have been indoctrinated with has nothing to do with the actual cosmic signs and the cosmic language that we discussed today. So, Brother Lance, if you still there, or if you made it back, how you doing, brother? I think I'll end on that point. Not sure if you're still around. I'm still looking for my earpiece that fell off. Wow, that is incredible. But yeah, so
You're
one of the
back.
things that we know from the nature's language and the cosmic consciousness is that it's not complicated. It's not complicated as man tries to complicate events that should be natural to us. There shouldn't be a uproar over a cosmic event. It should be something that is expected. And this is how our ancestors, this is how they walked. This was expected. It was a natural phenomenon. They got out, they celebrated because of it, because they knew, just like the different cycles of the planet and the seasons, they knew that it was part of planting and harvesting. So I think when we do this, when we add this fear mongering aspect to this, we miss a huge opportunity, not just for us to learn new things, but for the children to learn to appreciate. See, to me, there is a, what is the word, terminology I'm looking for? Well, these things are done on purpose. Okay, rather than us worshiping and being thankful and grateful to Supreme Source. We are teaching the children to be afraid of it. Stay in the house, lock your door, light some for what? The trees are all I need to connect to some form of divine manifestation in order to know what's going on. And, I just think we miss a huge opportunity to teach the children to appreciate nature and the wonders in nature, and more importantly, the source of it. But then again, that would go against you all's religious narratives. So this is where, the separation is going to take place. That those who continue to function on that level, then they're going to be, because the children are already moving away from it. Okay, they have. Only the ones who are forced, like I was, to go to church are going. And, again, I'm not trying to derail anybody's religion, but all I'm saying is that there is the law of polarity that's coming into effect. Because you have hot and cold on the same wavelength, okay? The difference is cold stays into a state of inertia or entropy until the hot actually starts making, everything dance and move and put the energy into it. So we can look at this as sort of a cosmic dance, however you want to look at it, but certainly it shouldn't be any fear-mongering going on with this. This is something that, again, we should be, exuberant over the fact that we're able to connect with nature, we're able to see the signs in nature, and we're able to, more importantly, know that this is a manifestation in nature that means that we are supposed to move, that the Neteru are in motion, okay, that they are operating through everything in nature. And when we look at the way that nature is constructed in all aspects of life, we know that those with the strongest melanin are also the ones that are connected to this chi or energy that moves things forward. Sort of like when heat hits anything, it causes at the molecular level, atoms and everything, to get activated. So when the children of the sun are connected, this is why in ancient native culture as well, they could make it rain. Okay, you have these same powers, but they have been taken away from you, and you have been forced to worship man-made deities. That's why I don't like showing any picture or likeness of the Supreme Source or the Creative Creative Spirit, because first of all, it's not just a man, as we know, male and female. Okay, it's both. Okay, and so I talk all the time about why the feminine energy is under attack. Well, the male energy is under attack as well, but we tend to lose the two greatest forces that we know, electromagnetism. Okay, they teach us a valuable lesson. Okay, and you can't have one without the other. Or if you have one without the other, it's not going to have the same effect. So this is why in nature, you're not thought of as complete unless you have three elements. Why? Is because the first element and the second element, although there seems to be a form of unity, has to have a third force that activates on it. Okay. And this is where you get this concept of the family, male, female, child, and also of all the other, we talked about the other cultures in the world, that this concept played a huge part in developing their ability to look at nature and to interpret it. And the other thing too is that 90% of communication is nonverbal. So what does that mean? You have to be able to read the signs all over the planet. Only 93% of it. So only 7% is verbal. This is why we always make the statement that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I hope everybody took advantage of this cosmic event, and that you didn't pay attention to the fear mongering, and that every opportunity you get to connect with Supreme Source, you should. And that doesn't mean that you have to be some perfect person that you've been taught to have to be. There are no perfect people. What it means is that your etheric mind, heart, and spirit must be pointed, okay, in the direction of bringing forth positive manifestations on the planet, and not destructive manifestations on the planet. So are you there, Brother Lance?
Yes, I am, my brother.
Oh, great, man, great. So yeah, I came to the end of this presentation, and I wanted to, I really wanted to be able to interpret this, and because there's a lot of fear mongering that they do with our people.
Yes.
And so we're afraid of nature. We're afraid of the dark. We're afraid, because they have incorrectly taught you that light comes before dark. That is not true nowhere in the universe, nowhere in our biological bodies. In fact, when you're born in darkness in the womb. And then you come into the light. So, stars are grown, quasars are grown, are manifested out of dark holes. Anywhere you look at this principle, you can go back to your Bible in the first chapter of Genesis, when it talks about the earth being void or black, and then light came forth. So those concepts come from our ancient ancestral concepts that, again, people that are good at writing narratives in the English language are able to do. With that, Brother Lance, I gotta get out of
Yes.
here. I got
Thank
a
you so much for
2 o'clock
sharing
appointment. Yes, sir.
that very defining perspective, because as we well know, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. I know you have to go,
Yeah.
but the more fear we have is the better they eat, and the more
Oh, yeah, the
paralyzed.
better they eat. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The tool. Social
So,
media and fear mongering and just the
oh,
whole
yeah,
bickering. Yeah.
it's just too much. And, it's got everybody on edge when this should be a time of celebration like our ancestors used to do. But see, one of the things too, I end on this, is that those who have perpetrated this blood in the soil, and our ancestors used to say that the soil, the sons and daughters of the soil's blood are crying out. This is where they plagiarize all these concepts from. But the truth of it is, I would dare to say there is at least 1 billion of melanated people's blood in the soils on the planet. And,
yes.
so they come up with this concept that somebody had to shed blood for you. No, blood has already been shed, brother. Plenty of it. Okay. So, but this transformation that's coming is going to be a time of separation as well. So those of us like me and you, Brother Lance, and those in the chat room and other places throughout the planet, we're going to see where there's going to be a type of hatred turned towards us. But we're built, you know, like you say all the time, we're built for this.
Yes.
And, you know, we're not, their fiat doesn't control us. And unfortunately, our people are put in a position where they have to bow down to these vampires sometimes. But at the same time, it's going to come a time where you have to, and again, I speak through terms that our people can comprehend, and that is through the Bible. And you know, I begin to do that more because now it's more important that our people now can open their eyes and become aware. Okay.
That's right.
So this has been foretold to us plenty of times. There's a story in the Bible that the prophet Daniel, and these are not these people's names, but we'll just go with that because again, it's about our people's level of this same prophecy and the law of gestation or divine timing. And he was told to seal it up. And see, when you have an event like this today and you can connect the dots, okay, and the Neteru, okay, when our people was told through symbolism would bring forth a form, the cosmic consciousness, or the Akashic records, a lot of people refer to it as, would bring forth some form of retribution. This has always been in the concepts of our people. And every land that you go in, there is a deity in their religious conceptual, language, where there is some form of retribution or reward or punishment, right?
Yes.
And we see this in all cultures. So my brother, enjoy your day.
Thank you so much.
Eat one of the mangoes for me. Make a big mango juice.
Oh, you know it. The mangoes, the watermelons, the pineapples, oranges, everything. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, brother.
Yes, sir. And we'll be talking again soon. Much love.
Definitely. Hit me anytime. I'm here.
Okay, brother.
Peace. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this was another great episode, and my throat is a little congested. I've been fanning around doing so much. I just want to say we have to keep on swinging, ball up our fists, put the ball of our foot in the ground and get some leverage and literally knock the opponent out. And it's not always going to come with one knockout blow. Sometimes it's going to come with an accumulation of softer blows. We have to also know how to avoid their onslaught at the same time. Sometimes we go into a basic with a fight plan, and okay, let me see. All right, yeah, we go in with a fight plan. Sometimes that plan changes. Just like when you get up sometimes and you feel you're going to have a bright sunny day, and it's raining, and it's raining for a reason. Sometimes we don't understand everything that seems to be a setback, but it's something that's guiding us into the right path that we thought we knew, but we didn't know. You see, just like that little child, I always say this, when you go to a concert, a free concert at the park, and you have a little child who can stand on their feet, If they just stand on the ground, they're just going to see the backsides of everybody. When that adult lifts them up and puts them on the shoulders, they can see what they were missing. So a lot of us, we're like that child who can't really see too far because we don't see as high as that adult. And that adult is the one who created us. And so sometimes we have to trust that as long as we hold our hand and we get in position, we'll eventually get raised in our views and the things that we see, and then it will all make sense. So that comes to trust, because if you're doing the right thing and you focus on the right thing, you know, you will have your trials and tribulations, and you always have to think. That's why we're given brains. But thinking is one thing, and moving without fear is another. So even when you take the blows in your face, in your spirit, whatever, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, you just have to keep on pressing forward. And sometimes there comes a round in the fight where you might rest a little bit, and they'll say, oh, your opponent won the fight or won the round. Well, it's strategic, because that opponent might punch themselves out and you got on the next round. So life is about the strategy. It's about the long haul. It's about knowing that it's a journey. And in this journey, you can't lose. You know why? Because you're going to gain more wisdom. You're going to get more insight, and that will help you surmount and overcome the future things that are going to challenge. Listen, I've had challenges all my life, and I've had to face them, and I walked away smarter. And so when they come back again, I say, hey, I dealt with this already before. This is how you do it. And this is how you share wisdom to tell other people how to get through things. And when you don't know sometimes, there's always that one that's sent to you to help you to get through. So you're never defeated. As long as you're alive and on this plane, you're never defeated. It may look that way, but you're not, because you're still in the game, because the fight is not over yet. That's the bottom line. Anyway, just want to say thank you all for your birthday wishes. I will be back tomorrow and rest my voice a little bit. I think I have a recording here that I might put up, something short for 5 minutes. But life is wonderful. Life is good, no matter what. That joy in my heart, no enemy can steal, because I know what I've been through, and I know what I'm made of, and I know I'm built for this, and you are too. Much love to all. LANCESCURV out. Peace.